The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PS&L Marketing Group. This is season number 2, show number 6, and it's happening right now. I'm excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will continue to keep it real, hot and timely, South Shore and Cape and Islands based, North Shore reference, but definitely full of Paul pondering thoughts. And as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, and a huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. And as always, we have lots of activity going on at Pearl Street Station. I know I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's longest-running restaurant of 40 years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. Please venture over the Zakin Bridge and visit us. And a shout-out to that group from Plymouth that came up to Bodeborg in Malden and then dined in our restaurant and absolutely loved it. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders as well. Chef Felipe, that shrimp scampioli that you had on special last night was absolutely tremendous. And just hit the spot for those of you who have not had the shrimp scampioli, Chef Felipe's creation. It's shrimp scampi over a bed of Dino's raviolis, cheese raviolis. Absolutely delightful. And those red peppers, those marinated red peppers you put in there, awesome. And also, I'm looking forward to next week's brunch, the Jazz Brunch with Scott Albertson and John Babowen. And we'll mention that later on. But it's one of those things that Scott Albertson from Project 142 was talking about, the delicious bacon, egg, and cheese French toast in your bourbon glaze. Absolutely delightful. And no calories, I might add. But a huge shout out to my team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, John, Nicole, and Dennis for holding down the fort on this very busy reservation day, and 75-cent wings and $1.50 cheese pizza slices for those NFL games later on today and tomorrow. So as I stated earlier, it is season number 2. And show number 6, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of the Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders Radio Show, and Arthur is out there adding to our list of sponsors. Hopefully we'll be rolling out a few new sponsors within the next month, so that's kind of exciting, and I want to thank our current sponsors for being there for us. And also, too, thanks again to Dave Boyle, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat there. Dave Boyle, chair of the Pembroke School Committee, for being on last week with John Brown, vice chair of the Pembroke Select Board, and they had a fundraiser this past Thursday night that I heard went really, really well, and it was a trivia night to benefit a local food pantry. I don't have any numbers, but I know that a lot of people, a lot of families were in fact helped because of the generosity of the people of Pembroke Marshfield in the South Shore, and just going out and just supporting a great cause, the Pembroke Foundation, and people helping people, and it really worked out really well on Thursday night. Now with us behind the glass, Tim behind the glass.
Yes, hello, Paul.
How are you?
I'm doing good, and that shrimp scampioli sounds delicious.
Absolutely.
I love a good shrimp scampi, but this is like shrimp scampi 2.0.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it really is amazing. And it's something that we instituted probably about 8-9 years ago. And I'll tell you, the Dino's raviolis are just so good. Dino's pasta out of Somerville. And they're all over the North End. I think they have probably like about 60-70% of the North End covered with their wonderful pasta. And it's one of those things that Chef Felipe just does a delightful job. And it's a very nice blend of the shrimp scampi, and the red peppers really enhance it.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
So
Now, you said it's Dino's?
yes.
Now, when you say Dino, are we talking about the Flintstones pet? No?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, just checking.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Thank you.
Pondered that. Thank you. Yeah, so when you come up for karaoke with the other ATD members, whoever is interested in an upcoming karaoke on a Friday or Saturday night, we'll have to make sure that we make a special shrimp scampi Oli for you.
All right, yeah. As long as it doesn't weigh us down too much. If we can't, we might have trouble walking up to the stage to the microphone to sing if we indulge too much.
Well, we'll work on it. We'll space it out. Okay. And Tim, I really can't help but comment on your sartorial splendor today.
Oh, thank you.
That is one good-looking hoodie. If you want to let our audience, obviously we're not on YouTube. We don't have a video on this. But Tim, if you would please describe to our listeners what you are wearing.
All right. So, in case you haven't heard in the past, I'm a bit of a NASCAR fan. I've been up to New Hampshire a few times, and I love all the shows I produce, but some I enjoy a little bit more, like your show and my Saturday block. I love Wednesday nights. I love all of them, but the most I love is Miles on Motorsports, and we talk about NASCAR and local racing too. I'm a big fan, and my fandom is coming out more and more as I get older, I guess. But I recently acquired online, if you go to NASCAR.com, they have a great store. There's other places you can go to. You can go to Amazon, whatever. But anyway, they have these hoodies that look like the uniforms that the drivers wear. And I recently got two of them. The one I have on today, the main sponsor is Menards. And if you follow NASCAR, you know that's a sponsor for at least one driver out there in the Cup Series, Ryan Blaney in the number 12 for Team Penske, Roger Penske. Yeah, that guy has cars in almost everything out there that's races around the world. But I got a Ryan Blaney one, and of course, my other guy that I really enjoy, Kyle Larson, number 5.
Wow, but very, very nice.
Yes,
and it really is quite colorful, and it's really so unique. And you look like you're actually a race car driver.
Yes,
you really do. You really do. I don't see any dirt on your face or anything. I don't see your helmet, though.
The cars have cleaned up a lot. It's funny you mention that because before they got to fuel injection, it was only recently, within the last maybe 8 years. Until then, it was carburation, the way it's been since we came out with the engine, But in the open face helmets, you got a lot more dirt and grime and stuff. Sometimes those engines, you just kept pushing them till the checkered flag came out, and then go back to the shop and see what you got left of an engine.
I guess so. Well, just a pondering thought. This is all pondering thoughts and all. This just topped in. Do you think we'll ever see a NASCAR for electric vehicles?
That is in the works.
No way.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But yeah, they're working on it. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that the enthusiasts of that sport will get a charge out of that.
Yes. Boom.
Okay.
In fact, one race, one of the main sponsors around the track was ABB Electronics.
Seriously.
And, yeah. So they're letting them say, "Hey, we're out here. We're working on this stuff."
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, keep us wired to what's happening down the road. Okay.
I will do that. I'll keep you plugged in.
That works for me.
Okay.
I love it. Well, we're kind of early today, so let's go to the Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Ms. Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, Vice President of Technology Literacy for Pod Pro Entertainment, and a past Paul Ponders guest, episode number 35. Shelley, you're on the line.
Good morning, Paul.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, thanks. Slight frog in my throat. I may have to have some of the Jewish penicillin chicken soup from Pearl Street Station when I get back, but I'm doing okay otherwise.
Very good. Very
Absolutely.
good. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
So glad you made it there safe, because I heard Tim talking about all these horrible accidents that were happening out there. So, I hope everyone's safe out there.
Dodged a few things along the way, but we made it here safely, thank goodness.
Good. Good.
Absolutely. So, Shelley, we've been posting more and more tips on the PSNL Marketing Group blog. And also, too, I just want to give you a quick shout out on those wonderful reels or those little snippets I see on LinkedIn and on YouTube, on the Pod Pro Entertainment YouTube channel. And it's really amazing how those tips, and I don't know if those are tips from this show right here or whatever, but you are getting lots of play on the YouTube channel for Pod Pro Entertainment and your own.
Thank you. Yeah, Techie Talonzo had this great idea that, we should record some of these because there's other folks out there that obviously may not be listening. And so let's continue to try to spread the message of all these great tech tips that are happening. So Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And also, too, people are in fact commenting on the fact that you have that myth of the week. And also, I look forward to hearing that and what you have for our listeners in Paul Ponder's land today. So take it away, my friend.
Fantastic. Well, today we decided to talk a little bit about technology, kindness, and everyday action, right? We're walking into Martin Luther King weekend. And what does that mean? I've been doing a lot of thinking myself that if Dr. King were here today, what would he be urging us to do this week? Not someday, but right now. And because so much of our lives happen through screens, I also wonder, how would he ask us to use technology, whether it's our phones, computers, our voices online, the technology to help us build a beloved community that he has always talked about? That everyday action, my first thought is, what is everyday action? As Dr. King spoke about, love, courage, and everyday action is not just historic moments, but how we treat one another in ordinary life. Here we are in 2026, and many of those ordinary moments happen online, whether it's a comment we leave for someone on social media, the articles we share with our friends or family, the messages we send, as well as the tone that we choose to use when we're using technology. Technology has become the modern town square when we really think about it, and we're all part of that conversation. So when we think about doing service, what does that look like through technology? It might be checking on a neighbor via text or a video chat, helping someone to schedule a doctor's appointment online, mentoring a young person over Zoom, sharing accurate information instead of rumors, or using that phone just to volunteer and donate safely. Again, remember, I noticed a lot of this year folks were using QR codes to promote their events and have people register ahead of time. So again, think about what you're doing this weekend. Leadership isn't loud, it's consistent, and digital kindness is real leadership. We need to remember that. So when we talk about what's the myth of the week, it is wondering if something is trending, and for those that may not know that term, it is widely discussed or currently very popular online, a topic, it must be true or at least mostly true. Is that the case? Well, the truth is, popularity does not equal accuracy. Dr. King reminded us to be guided by conscience and not crowds. The same is true for online. So before sharing something emotional or shocking, we really need to ask ourselves 3 major questions. Who created this? Is there a real source to this? And could this hurt someone if it's wrong? I ask everybody to take a 10-second pause at times and when answering these questions, as this is a modern act of courage. So let me give you a real-life example. Think about how fast a misunderstanding can spread. Maybe you've seen a post about a local event happening or being canceled, only to find out that wasn't true, or a story about a neighbor that turned into somebody's gossip and was dressed up as news. One person who shares it, and they repeat it 10 more times, and suddenly the whole community is believing this, and this is truly something that's never happened. So choosing not to hit and share something can be just as powerful as marching in the streets these days. So that's everyday integrity. So I ask everybody to challenge themselves and think about that. And I also think about what we need to think about media literacy as modern digital citizenship. Today we are all stewards, and today we speak truth that today needs caretakers. Simple tech habits that honor King's message are really, again, reading beyond those headlines, doing your research, check more than one source, and ensure they are reliable sources. Don't forward rumors. Choose conversation over conflict. Your phone can be a tool for justice and not just noise. You are the one that gets to choose. The 3-step kindness challenge is for you, and what I'm going to challenge you this week for all my listeners out there. I'm going to ask you to, 1, send one message of encouragement to someone. Number 2, share one helpful and verified resource with someone of something that you find very powerful. And pause before posting something angry. These are small actions, but they carry a big ripple effect. Again, one thing I want to ask our listeners, and I'm going to encourage our listeners to email us, and I'll give us our email in a moment, but our email, I want to challenge you with a small way that you can give to Dr. King's message this weekend by using technology. Examples are teaching a grandchild something online, reaching out to someone who feels alone, helping a friend avoid a scam, learning about a local service project. Again, I'm going to challenge folks to email us what they think that is going to be a tool that they can use to support Dr. King's message. So remember, Dr. King didn't ask for perfection. He asked for participation. And we're participating every day, as we talked about, in these technology tools. So maybe what it looks like when it's using our devices is lifting someone up, seeking truth, and practicing everyday kindness. One text, one post, and one conversation at a time. So today's Tech Talk, let's use our technology in a way that Dr. King used his voice to connect, heal, and to move us forward together.
Wow. That is so powerful. Tremendous. Shelley, just unbelievable. And definitely we are going to be posting this on the PSNL Marketing Group blog and all, but really let's get that out on our Facebooks and really just send that message out. And so true. Really is, with the way that our world is heading and the way it's headed and where it's heading. We need to keep these words, these powerful words, in mind and in the forefront. Definitely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. So how do our listeners contact you?
Yes, they can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
Awesome. And again, we'll be posting these delightful thoughts, tips, and words of wisdom. So, Shelley, do you have anything else to add? You're going to stay local this weekend?
I am going to stay local. I'm going to do some day of service. Here in Cambridge, we've got the Many Hands 365 is doing a lot of events around the community. And as I mentioned, I know for us, they were using QR codes to do registrations and those sorts of things. So it's, they're definitely utilizing technology. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the community comes together and pulls together. And, obviously we'll be sitting around looking to see and hope that the Patriots win, since my Eagles didn't win.
That's true. I forgot to mention that, actually. Right. I'm sorry about that. But we still have the Patriots. We still have the Pats.
The Patriots. Yes.
Go Pats. Awesome. Well, Shelley, again, I thank you for being such an important part of the Paul Ponders radio show. You are awesome, and you make it a great rest of the weekend, okay, my friend?
Thank you. You as well.
#Indeed.
#Imagine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number here is 781-837-4900, and you could also text us at that same number, 781-837-4900, and you could also find us on the Odyssey app. And if you like my daughter Ann in California, hi Annie, how you doing? Or Chef Felipe back at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, you're listening on the Odyssey app. So definitely download that app. That's AUDACY. And a shout out to those nonprofits out there if you want to get mentioned or if you want to be on the show. I do a lot of work with nonprofits, and you could just email me at paul@paulponders.com. Listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders on WATD shows. Now, my next podcast that I have coming up that I'll be dropping next Sunday night at midnight is with Mr. Rand Levy Yamamori, and he is an incredible gentleman and scholar and naturalist, and it was my first international podcast, actually. Rand woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning Israeli time. We had recorded this podcast, and it was 9 o'clock Boston time. And what a delightful man! I met him through our mutual friend, dear friend, Paul P.J.C. Swerter from Gotham Whale, and Rand has a documentary coming out, and it's called "It's About Time," about marine life, dolphins, whales, and it's really it's a very good podcast. Just you will enjoy that. And I just want to send a quick hello to Fiona, Ida, and Larissa from East Cambridge Savings Bank in Malden. They're listening in today, so hello there. Hope you're winding down your shift and you enjoy your Monday off. And many thanks to Tamika from Cohasset. Tamika called after last week's show, and she's such a delightful person and a loyal listener of WATD and Paul Ponders. So, Tamika, we had a nice chat, and I thank you for listening. And also, I was in touch earlier. I got a nice reach out from Mike on the North River. So he's out there listening. He's back in town, and he's listening. And I heard this week from Matt from Pembroke. And I just really want to thank all the loyal listeners that we have on WATD, but also with my show, and the fandom in the database listeners is really growing. When I give these shout-outs, I sort of feel like Miss Jean on Romper Room with the magic mirror. I see you through the glass. I see Tim behind the glass. At this point in the program, we usually have the segment of health and wellness survival tips with Miss Sharon Fillier. Now, Sharon is busy with yet another singing gig this week, and you could, if you ever want to book a singing gig with a band or the bands that she plays with, or just look at the Fillier fall prevention method, you could go to Sharon's YouTube channel and reach out to her. But on the line, have a dear friend, longtime friend, fellow Boston Eagle. He was a couple of years after me at BC, but Mr. Bob Sweeney, Executive Director of the Boston Bruins Foundation, is on the line, and he's en route to Warrior Arena for an alumni game. Bob?
How are we doing, Paul?
We're doing well, my friend. How are you today? Doing well?
I'm good.
Awesome. You have an alumni game over at Warrior Arena?
We do. Yep. We're playing against the Jet Blue Hockey Club that's going to benefit Children's Hospital today.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Well, good luck with that. Have a great skate, and just continue to raise that money that you do so well for the Bruins alumni, for those charities, but also as executive director of the Boston Bruins Foundation. I've worked with you in years past, and two of the events that I've participated in is, in fact, something you have coming up next Sunday, and it's the Be Fit Challenge. So take it away, my friend. What's happening there?
Well, this is the 10th year for the Be Fit Challenge, which is hard to believe. And it's been a great event that has been, part of the Bruins Foundation. And now it's our biggest event as far as, people attending and amount of money raised. Last year we raised over 1.2. This year we're already at 1.1, which is very good because a lot of the people put their money in at the end as prizes for tickets to Bruins games and such. So people try to lay in the weeds until the end. So we're hoping, and I'm pretty confident we'll probably break last year's record. But more importantly, it's a stair climb for anybody, whether you're first responders, military, police, fire. You have the opportunity to raise money. We have 20 host charities this year. It's very similar to the Rodman Ride for Kids, where we underwrite all of the costs with our sponsors and what we do for all the organizations. And it's a great way for them to utilize the TD Garden as the venue to have people run, walk, whatever they want to do. 7 levels. This year we're going all the way to the top of the Verizon Tower. That's 31 floors, so that should be interesting. And I'm sure a lot of the people will attempt to do that. I will attempt to do it. This is the second year I've had a team this year. Unfortunately, we're doing it for Officer Laporta, who was killed about 10 days ago in Uxbridge. So we're doing it to support his family. And, last year for the firefighters in L.A. with all the fires they were having there. So there's so many different charities. The 100 Club, which helps out all different first responders that get killed in the line of duty. The PFFM has been our biggest supporter over the last few years. So Rich McKinnon and everybody from his staff have done an amazing job. But there's so many smaller charities like 22 Mohawks that really take the bull by the horns and raise a lot of money. And we're fortunate to have them. This year we added Travis Mills Foundation too. So we have a wide array of different charities, but all worthy causes and all come together for a great day at the TD Garden next Sunday.
Wow, that's fabulous, and that is next Sunday. But I believe that you also have that link, that virtual aspect that you added a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, during COVID, people don't have to participate. People can go to bostonbruins.com/BeFitChallenge if you want to support someone. Technically, the registration is closed, but you can sign up the day of the event in person. Just the online registration is closed, but you can come to the TD Garden. The first community session starts at 10 o'clock for all non-first responders, and then we have the firefighters going at 11 and the police and military going at noontime.
Fabulous. Now, the 2 years that I did participate, I was with the Cataldo ambulance team through the Malden Rotary Club, and we raised our money with the Rotary for the Mass Ambulance Association, and our dear friend Dennis Cataldo put the team together, and I was just absolutely blown away with the organization, the teamwork, and the way that it just started on the garden level, the ice level, all the way up to the 9th floor, which was absolutely fabulous. And it was just amazing. It was just an amazing day. And you have an after party afterwards, I believe. Oh, did we lose you, Bob?
No, sorry, Paul. Yes.
No, it's okay. Be safe.
What was that again? Sorry.
Oh, just talking about the after party. There's an after party afterwards?
Yes. Yeah, it's gotten so big that we have to use both banners, which is right there, and Big Night Live. So it's on both sides of the entrances. We have bands in each spot. So it's turned into a great. And this year we'll have, the AFC Championship and the NFC Champ. Hopefully our Patriots will be playing, and people can watch the game in one of the two venues.
Absolutely. I sort of had this event penciled in for the first Sunday in February, which I think it typically has been. And I had booked a jazz brunch over at Pearl Street on the 25th, thinking that your event, because I'm feeling better, I'm recovered from my double pelvic hernia surgery, so I was going to try it, but I'll be there in spirit. But is there any way people could donate online or donate any raffle prizes?
Not raffle prizes, but we can do. People can go online, like I said. They can bostonbruins.com/BFitChallenge. So, yes, that's still available.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're just about at the arena. You have to go in for your game. But Bob Sweeney, I want to thank you for being on. And if you want to come back on Paul Ponder's radio show to promote any other future events, you do wonderful work for the Boston Bruins Foundation. And you're a true gentleman and a scholar, my friend.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate all the support.
You're welcome, my friend. Have a great skate today and keep up the great work. And best wishes next Sunday at the TD Garden, the BFit Challenge, powered by National Grid.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bob. Well, that was Bob Sweeney, and Bob's a really great guy. He had a great career with the Boston Bruins, very active with the Boston Bruins Alumni Association. And I think I'll be doing an event with Bob. I believe it's April 18th and 19th, Patriots Day weekend over in Winthrop at the Ruzioni Center Larson Rink to benefit I believe either Children's Hospital or another local charity. We haven't determined that yet. But anyways, let's hear from our sponsors. Then we'll go to our next guest on the line.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you. Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were three deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email Mike at northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in and text-in line number is 781-837-4900. Now, at this part of the program, we have the financial wing of Olympic Proportions, sponsored by PS&All Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS 410564, with Mr. Paul Crowley of Riverworks Credit Union and Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer. So on the line today, we have Mr. Paul Crowley on the line.
Paul? Hey, good afternoon, Paul.
How are you? I'm well, thank you, my friend. How are you this fine day?
I couldn't be better, thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Paul, we had a slight hiatus over the holiday season and all, and I hope you had a great holiday season. and raring to go for 2026.
Yeah, 2026, looking to see the real estate and mortgage market continue to improve so that some of these first-time home buyers can finally get into that home that they've been looking for.
Fabulous. So I know today's topic of conversation is going to be the current interest rate environment. So let's take it away, my friend.
Yeah, so, Paul, I've been watching this market now. Well, I watch it all the time, but pretty closely these past 3 to 6 months, because every time you think you see the interest rates starting to improve, something happens and they stabilize and creep back up again. And it's, for home buyers, I'm sure it's very frustrating, because with the price of housing today, the interest rate has a significant impact on somebody's ability to actually afford a house. I mean, it's tough enough to afford the house if it's, $500,000 or $600,000. But when you tack on 1 to 2% to the interest rate, that further exacerbates the problem of affordability. So we're really trying to see, we're waiting to see that where the interest rate market responds in a favorable way, driving down interest rates, which would, push the sales of real estate in a positive direction. So still hasn't really happened yet, but we are seeing a little bit of improvement recently. The 30-year interest rate right now for mortgages, the average rate is 6.06%, which, compared to 7%, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that we can see it drop into the 5s. If it drops into the 5s, I think people will be in a position to start looking. And in fact, another aspect of the market's lackluster performance, the real estate market, is that so many people have mortgage rates 3%, 2.75, 2 7/8, 3.5, because of the boom in interest rates, or the lowering of interest rates in 22, 23, prior to the inflation picking up. And so those rates, people who have houses at those rates, those people don't want to sell their house and move somewhere else because they like their rate and they don't want to see it go up. So it limits their mobility. And when you limit their mobility, that's less housing inventory, which has further upward pressure on the price of houses. So we are starting to see some signs of life in terms of a declining interest rate market and, more housing available for sale. But we're not quite there yet. I'm hopeful that it'll start happening soon.
Interesting. Now, when is the Fed meeting again to decide on the rates?
They meet every 6 weeks, and so I'm just spitballing because I don't know exactly, but it's in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
And the Fed is getting extraordinary pressure from the Trump administration to lower interest rates as a way to combat inflation. Or actually, let me rephrase that. To spur growth. The Fed's problem with doing that is they're afraid that spurring growth will lead to more inflation, which is kind of an interesting dynamic when you think about it, because the growth of the economy is great. When the market is growing, everybody's real wages are going up, investments are going up, more activity in the marketplace, all that kind of stuff. But that sneaky little thing called inflation can lead to the wrong kind of growth. It's really a decline in the value of the dollars that you're spending. So while I appreciate the Fed's position that they need to hedge against inflation, that's their mandate, I don't think that that's really a concern now, because there are so many things in the market that are improving growth. For example, the lower price of oil and productivity gains in business, real wage increases, and so forth. So all these things are, to me, signaling that inflation is not as big a problem as the Fed is making it out to be. Sometimes I think that the government that is Donald Trump's administration doesn't get any help from the Fed because they don't like what the Trump administration is doing. So they're not going to give him what he wants, I think. So that's part of the problem too. But so they say the Fed is independent from the federal government, which by design it is, but it is truly a political animal as well. So anyway, we need to see the Fed lower rates, and not just lower rates, but also state that they intend to continue to lower rates. That statement alone will drive prices. I'm sure you're aware of this, Paul, but for the listening audience, the Fed does not set mortgage rates. They set the internal Fed rate that they lend to other banks, which drives interest rates. And the market basically decides what the interest rates are going to be. So when the Fed signals that they're going to do something, the market responds before it actually happens. So if they do signal that they're going to, say, lower 3 times over the course of 2026, and the market believes that to be the case, then the interest rates will drop immediately. And all of a sudden you'll see a boom in the refi market. You'll see a boom in the purchase of real estate and so forth. So I think that's the signal that we're looking for. Once we start to see the Fed officially taking the position that they need to lower interest rates, it's game on for the real estate market.
Interesting. So if you're a first-time home buyer, what are you looking at as a down payment? Would it be like 3%, 5%? What's happening these days?
Yeah, that's the market is controlled by FHA, the 3% down payment, and then you can get the VA loans, which is 0% down. While I know that that's the only way to entry for some people because they lack the down payment. I've said this before, and I stand by it. It's not a the terms are not very favorable to the first-time home buyer. It's really rather remarkable how the government allows FHA to lend the way they do. Let me explain it a little bit better. So if you put 3% down, that means you have very little skin in the game. Let's say you're paying $500,000 for a home. 3% down is $15,000. So while you do have skin in the game in terms of that $15,000, not a lot of skin. $15,000 doesn't go very far these days, as everybody knows. So because it's only $15,000 down, and the bank, in order for them to agree to lend 97% of the value of the home, they're going to want assurances that they're going to get paid back. So they require guarantees from not the borrower, because the borrower really doesn't have much beyond that 3% down. They need government assurances. So what the government does is the government, through its quasi-government agencies like FHA, they guarantee to the bank that the loan will be paid back. Now, how does the government deal with that, or the quasi-government agency? They charge what's called purchase mortgage insurance. Now, purchase mortgage insurance is a great thing in that it allows first-time home buyers in. However, because of the cost of that, which in FHA, you could pay somewhere in the order of $300 or $400 extra per month. Might be even more now with the increase in the real estate values. $300 or $400 per month, or between $3,600 and $4,800 a year additional on top of that's, if your payment's $2,400, that's equivalent to 2 payments extra a year. And I think that's unconscionable, frankly. The traditional conventional mortgage is the cheapest way to go. I mean, I know not everybody's in a position to do it, but unless you get at least 20% down, you're subject to purchase mortgage insurance. And purchase mortgage insurance effectively increases the interest rate. So people need to think about that and understand it fully before they make a decision to purchase. And by the way, FHA, one of the things about FHA that's troubling as well is that if in a rising value market, for example, let's say you buy a house at $500,000 and 3 years later it's worth $600,000 because of a significant increase. Now you have 20% equity in the property. FHA will not let you recast that loan so that you can drop the PMI. They force you to keep it. The only way you can get out of it is to refinance with a conventional loan. So anyway, I'm waxing poetic here, I think, but fact is, FHA, while it's good for first-time home buyers on the surface, you have to look deep and see what the real cost is to the individual for that. I mean, I would argue that you'd be better off borrowing the money from a family member. Actually, you can't borrow it. Gifting is probably the way to go. You could figure out a way to get that 20%. It's so much more advantageous to you as a home buyer.
Gotcha. In your past experience in doing financial analysis and working with individuals and corporations is really key for you sitting down with a prospective client.
Yeah, I've been providing financial and investment advice to people for 40 years or more, and I have kind of a strange or an atypical resume, if you will. I started out in public accounting, moved into investments, moved into financial planning, and then moved into loan origination. It's kind of backwards, but as a result of that, I have the advantage of sharing with people the broader picture. Think about when you go to get a car loan, Paul. You go in there and the salesman, he doesn't want you to know how much you're borrowing, what the interest rate is. He wants you to only think about how much does it cost per month. And by the way, he doesn't tell you about the sales tax. He doesn't tell you about the undercutting. He doesn't tell you. So the reason he's doing that is because he wants to oversimplify it. So you're only looking at it in terms of how much is it going to cost me each month. Now, while that is important, a bigger, a more important aspect of it, to me, is how much you're borrowing, what is the interest rate, and what does that do to your overall financial picture. And another example is, when you apply and qualify for a loan, the bank tells you how much they believe that you can afford. If they say you can afford $3,000 a month, and that would include principal, interest, and taxes, and insurance, if they believe that you can afford that, then you have to take the next step and say, do I believe that? Can I afford it? And you think about it. When you buy a home, let's say you're living in a 800 square foot apartment and you buy a home because you've got 2 kids, your 800 square foot apartment is way too small, and you got one on the way, and you got 5 people living out, so you need to get like 2,000 square feet of. You increase your living space by over 100%, going from 800 to 2,000 square feet. Now, what does that mean when you actually buy the home? That means, first of all, your heating bill is going to go up. Your electric bill is going to go up. You need to furnish more rooms. There's a lot of costs associated with becoming a homeowner, especially when you expand the size of your home. So you can't just say, "Oh, I can afford $3,000. I'll just have to give up, no going out with the guys on Friday night or whatever it is." To kind of make it all work, you have to think about all the other elements of it as well, and that's what I try to do for my clients. What's interesting is sometimes I actually talk people out of buying a house because I don't think it's right for them. And when you're in the loan business, you don't get paid unless you do the loan, so it's kind of I'm cutting off my nose, if you will, but I think it's the right thing to do, so I do it.
Right, which is why you've been so successful all these years. So as we wind down, how do our listeners in Paul Ponders land reach out to you, Paul Crowley?
So you can always call the main number, Riverworks Credit Union, but if you want to get me directly, I'm usually available. I wouldn't say 24/7, but you can call me after hours and on weekends on my cell phone. That's 781-513-3721.
That's fabulous. So you brought up an interesting scenario about putting assets together, people living in the house. So it's a topic of conversation, hopefully for next week, my friend. Right?
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Well, Paul Crowley from Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS 410564. I want to thank you for being on, and I want to wish you a great weekend. All right, my friend?
Thank you, Paul. You too.
You got it. Be well now. Thank you. And that's just one of those things where we just have so many smart people out there. And Paul
wicked
Crowley,
smart.
Wicked smart. Indeed. Well, I want everyone to stay tuned to Tim McKenney, who's staying behind the glass for an hour until 2 p.m. when Larry Nelson, the great Larry Nelson, comes in studio and plays some awesome tunes. Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll, is off today. And we all know that Ron is a true leader of the pack with great musical memories of yesteryear. Thanks, Ron, for all the great things you do, but Tim's going to carry the torch today for an hour, and then Larry Nelson. Listeners can go to paulponders.com, find those subscription links. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur Shelley, Bob Sweeney, Paul Crowley, and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in WATD World and Beyond. Here's to a great season number 2 and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.